and welcome to yet another episode of John Works Too Much. Today, we're going to be building a shed. Got David Canoe here again. He's a rock star. Yep. And we took some time this morning, and we put this on a tube, and I'm going to show you how we did that in a second. But I want to show you a cool trick that I learned. So a lot of times you're like, I want to taste this and make sure that the power's off. And then
I know what to do.
Oh.
Just put a kink in it. You know, like when you're out in the yard, and you're
like a water hose.
Yeah, like a water hose. Put a kink in it.
Stop
and it'll
the power
stop the electricity. So then you can just do whatever you want after you put a kink in it.
That's right.
You are wrong about that. You are wrong about that, David Canoe.
That's what I was told.
Well, you were told wrong. Don't do that, kids. Okay, so let me show you how this works for real. What we did is this has to be able to not float away in case there's a Noah's Ark flood. And so we put sonotube in here. A lot of times I just build blocks, don't walk on it yet. It's still wet. So we put sonotube down on the ground, and I don't have any with me, but you can see what it looks like. So we bury that, level the whole thing off. We put fast setting concrete in here, and then we built a framework. Then we're gonna go to lunch, and then we're gonna come eat and come back, and then we'll frame the rest of this up. So we're super excited. You wanna talk about anything?
No. I mean, I think you just covered it all.
Yeah, it's pretty basic stuff.
It's pretty cool though. I learned a lot today.
What'd you learn?
I learned how to put this pier and beam set up.
Sonotube stuff is, yeah.
And mix the concrete and put it in. And
he was so good at mixing concrete.
Yeah, I did the dirty work.
Yep, and I did nothing as usual. But I got shocked, and that wasn't nice. Why did you lie to me?
I thought that it would work. I mean, it works on the water hose.
I mean, scientifically
works on
it
like
should.
vacuum cleaners too.
Yeah, scientifically it should work. You want to try it again? Here, you try it.
I'm not trying it.
Why not?
Because I just saw you get shocked.
So? Maybe it'll work there. Maybe you weren't kinking it off enough. Here, I'll
plus you stuck your tongue on it. No, COVID.
Oh. Canoe's afraid of COVID. I'm not afraid of anything. All right, we'll see you guys soon. Oh, this? Here, come on over here, Stuart. Let's just take a look here. I think that it's worth the $10 whenever you're building a deck or a shed or literally anything to get a bag of bones from the store, especially if it's near Halloween time, and then bury it. Then later on, somebody's gonna tear this thing down and be like, ah, there's a dead body, just for a second. And then they'll be like, it's plastic. But somebody might call the police, and I think that's pretty hilarious. So what else do we think is hilarious, Canoe?
Well, that this skeleton has COVID-19.
Yep, that's how it died.
And we don't.
Yeah, you're gonna, putting all that dirt on it, you're gonna get it. That's it. You're wearing a mask? The skeleton's not wearing a mask.
No, well, I've got a mask for him.
Okay, well, that's good. So, speaking of masks, at Home Depot, because I spend gazillions of dollars there, I'm per reward. So if I give my phone number, then, you know, they like give me a discount. So you can use my phone number, you can get a discount too. That's not the point of the story. So Kenny uses my phone number so he can get a discount, and they ask if you have a job name. And so he started telling them that the job name was Bouger. It's Booger. And so after a while, the girl at Mansfield Home Depot, she's like, let me guess, the job name's Booger. So every time he's like, it's Bouger. So then I started saying for my job name that it's POOP. It's P-O-O-P. And they type it in a P-O-O. And then I'm like, yep, it's poop. That's my job name is poop, because I'm an immature child in a grown man's body.
Yes, he is.
That's a true story. And Canoe laughs every time. He's like, did you tell him POOP?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna build a shed. Okay. Yeah, so we had built the walls and put the siding up. Canoe did all the hard work, and once again, I just sat underneath the tree and sipped on lemonade. I had a little umbrella hat, it was pretty cute. So now we gotta figure out how to do the pitch. And I know I've showed you this before, but just in case you haven't seen it, I'll show you again, or maybe you'll learn it again. So here, let's go down here on some paper. This is, I had my engineer figure all this stuff out. So let's imagine that this whole thing across there, that wall, right, is 24 inches. So then half of that is 62 inches from here to here, right? So then we have to figure out, well, how tall is that so we can make our pitch, right? So the way that we do that, we know that we want a 312 pitch. So that's that's the ratio, is 3:12. As
three is what?
So this is a 312 pitch, which means for every 12 units, then we're coming up 3, right? And that's what our pitch is. Okay? So that's how you figure that out. But then we don't know what our height is, right? So that's an unknown. So then we take 12 times x, we cross multiply, equals 3 times 62, which I guess is 186. And then we divide by 12 and divide by 12, which leaves you with x equals, and then we have to do some math there. So whatever that is, minus, so 66. What's 12 into 66? 5. So it's going to be like 15 and something inches, right? We're going to call it 16 inches tall. So that will be 16 inches tall. And it'll be at a 312 pitch. And if we look on our square, then that'll tell us that that's whatever the degree angle is. So you want to go get my square real quick? I'll show you how to do it. We're going to learn something. I hope you guys are having a great day. Did you like our skeleton? He's underneath here. He's just waiting, patiently, so patiently waiting.
Bougere.
Yeah, his name is Bougere. Okay, so on here, if you got a pivot point, right, then that's a 312 pitch, which is a 15-degree angle. So that means that all these are going to be 15 degrees, right? So imagine if this was your board like this. If we went from our pivot point and then went down until you see 3 right there, and then come across, and that's our pitch, right? So that's how that works. Hey, everybody. I took some phone calls today that I think are very important, so we didn't get very much done today. But we did obviously pour the foundation, framed up the bottom, put on the floor, subfloor, whatever, framed everything, got the siding up, and then we got this part of the roof rafters framed. We didn't finish it, but there's some stuff sticking up or whatever, but that's how that looks. Anyway, so what I want to talk to you about is a long time ago I heard a sermon, and this pastor said that a lot of times people think, or they say, the difference between a Christian and non-Christian is not that much of a difference, right? Like, if you look at them, they eat the same food and they watch the same TV shows and they go to the same sporting events and the same schools and whatever, and like, what's really different about you, right? But then he gave this example. He said, imagine that there's a rain cloud and filled with rain droplets, and this goes right over the Continental Divide, which is the highest point in the United States, right? So it's floating right over this thing, and then all of a sudden these 2 raindrops fall right next to each other, out of the same cloud, out of the same water. And they're just inches apart, and then one lands on one side of the Continental Divide, and the other one lands on the other side. At that point, you're like, what's the big deal? They're that far apart. But then as time passes, they trickle down the mountain, and they get farther and farther apart. And then they go into tributaries and streams and rivers, and eventually, if they don't get evaporated, one will end up in the Atlantic Ocean, and one ends up in the Pacific Ocean, and their destinies are very different, if you want to take that analogy. And so I've seen people through my life, and I'm sure you have too, that maybe there's 2 people that are very similar, and then one of them makes a decision to do something and the other one decides, no, I'm not going to do that. And the more time that passes, the more you see that they have very, very different destinies. And so I just want to emphasize how important it is to make small decisions, and even if you've gone too far in the other direction, it's not too late to turn back around and go the right way. So I hope you guys are having a great night. Tomorrow we're going to get this whole thing done and finished, and maybe do some other things, and I love you very much. See you later. Bye. Oh, hey there. So we got the shed done, and we got it painted and everything, and it's sturdy and tough and everything. But that's not what you guys want to hear about. What you guys want to hear about is the skeleton underneath. And yes, we did laminate a letter. It was a suicide letter. It said, it's 2020 right now. I know about Jeffrey Epstein. I definitely know some stuff about Hillary Clinton, and I did die of COVID. And that's
True story.
True story. So, Canoe, you're pretty smart, right?
Sometimes.
So I know how long a night lasts on Earth, but how long does it last on the sun?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Probably you guys should comment. There's got to be some scientific
go
person.
to the sun to find out.
So I suggested that to NASA. I said, let's go to the sun and do a mission. And they were like, it's too hot. I'm like, duh, go at night.
Good question. Or not a good question, but good statement.
It really is. I mean, NASA, seriously, get with the program. I'm trying to help you out here. What else you got?
Well, you ready?
Yes. Uh-oh, right through the window.
Did you see that? Dog's amazing.
That dog's, yeah.
It's a border collie. I learned a lot about him.
You get them at On the Border. It's off the map. It's not really true. It's not really. Hey, helicopter, and goodbye, people. See you on the next one. Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of John Works Too Much. Today, we've got a pretty small job. It's going to be a pretty short episode. We're going to take out these 2 windows and a window in the other room, and then we are going to replace those windows. We're also going to pop up a tile and fix that. So, pretty easy stuff. You probably noticed that I haven't been posting anything this week because I was working on other things. I did a big video presentation for JDRF, which is Juvenile Diabetes Research Fund, and I love those people and I love what they do and what they stand for, and I think they're doing a fundraiser tonight, and so if you just look that up, then maybe you can contribute because they do amazing things. Also, I went to a funeral yesterday for a friend of mine, and a couple things I thought were noteworthy about that. I've known a lot of people that died, and I've been to a lot of funerals, but this, I've rarely seen somebody that faced death as courageously as this lady did. And so she went to the doctor, and they said, you have pancreatic cancer, and there's 5% survival rate after a year. And she came out, and she never shed a tear, and she smiled and said, well, I never have to go to the hospital again, because I'm ready for my next journey in life. I've made my peace with God, and I'm about to go home. And I just thought, what a beautiful story that is, right? And she was strong and courageous right up to the end. She didn't suffer. She didn't spend a lot of time in the hospital. She had about 2 days of being delirious, and then she died in her sleep. And I think that's a beautiful story. And at the funeral, they said that she made everybody feel like they were the most important person in the room. But what they didn't realize is that she was the most important person in the room. And I just think that that's a beautiful testimony about her. But anyway, so we're gonna work on this today. I hope you guys are having a good day. I'll try to keep you updated. This is a pretty quick job, so we're probably not gonna get that much done, but Bart's here helping me out, and he's a wonderful musician, a wonderful person. All right, see you guys later. Love you. So it's been about 28 minutes, right, Bart?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 28 minutes. The first step on taking window out is don't do it yourself. I'm gonna tell you it's dangerous. There's, you know that me and Danger are pretty much best friends. A lot of times Danger will walk up to me and I'll be like, Danger? And he's like, John? I'm like, I haven't seen you in a minute. And he's like, I thought I killed you a long time ago. And I'm all like, I know, right? Like, I should totally be dead. And he's all, well, I don't know what to do. I'm like, you want to get lunch or something? Like, how's the wife and kids? And he's all like, no, man, it's kind of weird. But, so normally I'm not a real advocate for safety-ish, but in this case, it would be very easy to hurt yourself if you didn't know what you're doing, so I'd suggest that you don't do it. But I'm gonna tell you what we did. We tried to get it out the right way, and it just was fighting us. And so we had to break all the glass to get it out, and we were neat about it and everything, but we had to cut the window and then fold it on itself and pull all that out. So that's the mess. We pre-ordered these windows, and so they're the right size, so we just put it in, and then basically what happens is Bart holds it because Bart's good at that, and then we get it up to where the old window was, and we put a screw up in here and a screw up in here, and that keeps it solid. And then we open the window and make sure that it can open and close, and it's sitting square and right. And then we put a screw down in here and a screw down in here, and then obviously we'll fill this in with great stuff and caulk and everything. So, but now it works. And these are cool windows. I don't know if you guys have seen these, if you have rich friends or maybe you're rich yourself, but you can just tilt these in and then be like, oh, I want to clean the inside of the window because I'm just that lazy. So that is that. What was I going to talk about? Oh, I remember. Forgiveness. So at church on Sunday, and I absolutely love my church. I know I talk about it a lot, but at church on Sunday, we talked about the fact, and then in our small group too, that if we want God to forgive us, and this is in the Bible, that Jesus himself said this, if we want God to forgive us, then we have to forgive other people. It is crucial, right? Like if you think, I'm going to ask for God's forgiveness, and then I'm not going to forgive other people, I'm going to hold bitterness and resentment in my heart, and I'm still going to be forgiven, I'm sorry, but that's incorrect. And so if I want forgiveness, and I desperately need forgiveness, then I have to forgive other people. And it's easy for somebody like myself because I have done so much stuff wrong that it is easy for me to go, look, all the stuff that God forgave me for, I can certainly let this go between us. But a lot of people, so I've always felt, when I was younger especially, that I was too bad to go to heaven. But I know a lot of people that feel like they're too good to go to hell. And I'm sorry, but that also is incorrect. And so we need to understand that God has paid off an enormous debt with us, with his own blood, and we need to have that same mercy and that same kindness and that same forgiveness for other people. And if you don't, you will have a bitterness inside of you, you'll have a hatred inside of you that will grow like a cancer. And not only that, but you also will not be forgiven. And there's a parable that we talked about, and that is that there's a rich ruler, and somebody owed him $1 million. It's today's terms, it's actually, a Jewish term, but the equivalent of $1 million. And he's like, I'm going to take you and I'm going to put you in debtor's prison, because that was a real thing. And the guy begged and said, please, 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 I'll pay you back every penny. Just give me some time and I'll pay you back. And the guy's like, you know what? I'm going to have mercy on you. In fact, I'm not just going to let you have time to pay this back. I'm also going to forgive your whole debt. You don't owe me anything. Your debt is forgiven. Let me take that burden off of you. And he gave him that, right? Which is a beautiful gift. And immediately he went out and found somebody that owed him $10 and said, you owe me my money. And the guy's like, please give me some time and I'll pay you your money back. And he's like, absolutely not. I'm going to throw you into debtor's prison. He grabbed him by the throat and said, I'm going to put you in debtor's prison. And he did. Well, then word got back to the ruler, and he said, I forgave you $1 million, and you wouldn't forgive that guy $10. Why wouldn't you show the same mercy to him that I showed to you? And so now you owe the full $1 million again, and you're going into prison to pay that off until every last penny is paid off, which in spiritual terms means if you don't forgive somebody else, God is going to remove that forgiveness from you, and you will not be able to pay that back because it's too great a debt. So the point is not to scare you. The point is to say, look, take that weight off of you and forgive those people, even if they've done really bad things, because we've all done really bad things, and forgive them. And it's for you, it's for them, it's for God, it's for everybody. The world will be a better place if you do that. So I hope you guys are having a great day. I'll try to get you another video too. All right, love you, bye. We took this window out, and so I figured you guys would want to see what that looks like. So here's what happens is we of course had to break the glass because this one's going to fight us and be difficult. But we take all this out. So what happens is when you want to measure for a remodel window, this is a remodel, not a new window, then you take your measurement here, and then you subtract 1/4 inch. So because that's where your brick is, not the inside, but on the outside. And then same thing top to bottom. And you always do your width first and then your height, right? And so you do that and then minus 1/4 inch, and then you have them make that window. And then this should fit right in because we got all the yuck out of the way. And then like I said, we put a screw up in here and it grabs a hold of that stud and over here, and then down on the bottom, and it grabs the studs, and then we grade stuff and caulk it. So in the Middle Ages, well, sorry, let me rewind here. The name Lance is not really common, but during the Middle Ages, they had the name Lance a lot. That's all I got. All right. So we got everything in, and we got all 3 windows in, which is great. But then we put expanding foam, which is called Great Stuff, all around up in here. And so then we have to leave that, and then it expands out and it foams out, right? But then once you leave it for a bit, then you get a knife and you cut off the extra, right? So that's an important thing to do. Cut all this extra off and then make it smooth. And then after that, then you can caulk it. So we're not going to do all that right now, but I'm just showing you that that's kind of how it works. It looks like it's still a little bit wet, but you take all this yuck off of there. Yeah, we're gonna leave that for now. But that is the point, is that we're gonna make that expanding foam fill in the blanks and cut off the extra. So what was I going to talk about? I don't remember, it was a long time ago. Oh, rock climbing. So I don't know if you guys have ever been rock climbing, but and I'm not, there's indoor rock climbing, which I love, and so if anybody wants to go, just hit me up and I'll totally go with you. But there's also like rock climbing out in the wilderness, and so the way that works, you get a rope obviously, and you tie it at the top, and then you have somebody on the bottom to belay for you, and then you climb up and they pull up the rope, and then if you fall, you only fall so far. But sometimes you can't do that, and so sometimes you've got to just climb for a bit, but then you drive a stake, you find a crack in the rock and you drive a stake deep into there, and you tie your rope through there, so that when you climb some more, if you do fall, which could happen, then you only fall as far as, you know, like if that's your stake, then you only fall that much farther. So you want to keep putting stakes in the walls so that you don't fall, and you keep weaving your rope through that. You take it out of the last one and put it into the next one. So that's kind of an important life lesson. But it's also a life lesson in other things too, right? So we have milestones in our lives that then remind us, you know, don't fall farther than this. And so in our spiritual journey, if we are going a distance and then we realize like, hey, I've got a minute, maybe you drive a stake in there, something that you will remember, something that will not let you fall farther than that point. And you go, I remember this point and I'm not going to fall farther than here. And you weave your rope through there and you keep climbing. And if anything happens, you're like, I will not fall past that point, right? Because that's important, and we need to help each other up too. But the other thing that happens is when you drive that stake in, then the next person can just come put their rope right in there. They don't even have to do the work because you've already done it for them. And so you've led the way. And a lot of things I do are pioneering, because, and by that I just mean that I'm the first one to do it in the group, and so then the other people that come behind me, I want it to be easier for them. I want to look behind and go, this is what I went through, let me help you avoid some pitfalls. Here's a way, let me help you along, because I say it all the time, we don't win if somebody else loses, we only win if we help everybody up. Everybody comes up with us. That's how we win. And so I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll do a wrap-up video here in a bit. Oh, and then we did this tile too. So here's a kind of an important lesson too. I know it's a long video. So sometimes you get hollow tiles, and here we did, and so we took this up, and then we had one hollow tile here, and we took that one up. But then the problem is you start taking one tile out, and then the next one next to it gets hollow too, and so on and so forth. So there's a point where you leave well enough alone, and then we can squeeze some mortar up underneath there, and that'll solve the problem. But I'll show you how to do that too. That's easy enough. All right, see you guys in a bit. It's been 28 minutes, and we got the windows in. They're foamed, they're caulked, and everything looks good. And we got the blinds back up and stuff. So you can't see them because we're trying to cover up all our ugliness. But there's window, 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 and then we replaced the tile. Here, you can pop your head in here real quick. So we replaced that one, and then those three, and one in the kitchen because they had hollow spots. So we did that. So Bart, I was talking to Bart because we've had a great conversation today. I mean, all day long it's just been good conversation, iron sharpening iron, one man's sharpening another man, and I've really enjoyed it. So we both agreed that probably today was a divine appointment, and that we meet people for a reason, and that there are no coincidences in life. But I want to take it one step farther than that and tell you that I have lived my life for many years like literally every person that I come in contact with, whether it be virtual or in real life, that the reason why I'm coming into contact with that person is because somebody is praying for that person. Somebody is going, God, please be with my mother, my son, daughter, friend, coworker, you name it. Please show them a way that I cannot show them. Give them mercy, give them love, help them with their problem, like whatever it might be. And I get the opportunity to be the answer to that prayer for somebody. And I also pray for my family and for my friends, and I want somebody else to be the answer for that prayer, but sometimes I can't. And so when I'm given that opportunity, I'm like, what an honor, right? I get to change the trajectory of somebody's life, their destiny and their eternity, and I get to help take some of the weight off of them and help to relieve their problems and their stresses and just put their mind at ease and help them out. And what an honor that is. And I think that if you live your life that way, that those opportunities come. That God goes, you know what? I need somebody that will obey me, because it's one thing to talk, but it's another thing to actually obey. I need somebody that will obey me. Who will do it? And he looks down, and I wonder if he looks at Earth like we look at the sky, and he just sees like constellations, right? He just sees like, these are the stars of all these people. These are the stars. These are the ones that shine light on other people. So who's the closest in proximity? Can I get that person to that person? How would I arrange that? Maybe I can have him remodel his house. Or maybe I could have them have lunch at their restaurant, or fly over to do a show, or whatever in the world it is. Something that to me seems very like, what are the odds? And to God, he's like, I'll tell you the odds. Somebody asked me to please help them, and I am using you as my hands and feet to help that person. And I am so very blessed. And when you recognize that, then you start to see it, and then you start going, wow, like God really is using me, and this is so amazing. At the same time, I just want to say that, and we've been talking about this too, that it is very possible to be the hand of the devil, okay? It is very possible that you bring misery to people, you bring pain to people, you bring disappointment and debt and anguish and stress and things like that. And is that what you want to be? Do you want to be the hand of the devil? Because I've talked to some people that have said, I am tired of being the hand of the devil. I am tired of being somebody that provides a way for somebody to do the wrong thing and to bring pain into their life. And so if you are that person, I encourage you, please stop. And if you're not, either way, right? I love you just the same, right? I really do. But if you get the opportunity to help somebody and to live your life like God can use me as an answer to somebody else's prayer, be that answer to somebody else's prayer. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, bye.